Hey guys, it's that time of year again. Actually, I'm a couple months late, but the Stack Overflow 2020 developer survey came out. I always find this really interesting because it's one of the few places where you can really get an insight into how the software field is going and how what the people think about it. And I think last time they had close to 100,000 people fill it out. This time 65,000, and it's really a good insight into what's going on. I haven't actually looked through it yet. Someone in my live stream reminded me to check it out, and I forgot to do a video about it. So let's go ahead and check it out together. I want to take a moment to thank our long-term sponsor, Dev Mountain Coding Bootcamp. I've had the pleasure of visiting some of their campuses back when in Provo, and it was a beautiful campus. I think they've moved to Lehigh in recent times. But if you're interested in a bootcamp that also provides housing so you can get up and go in web development, QA, iOS development, UI, UX, they got it all. Check them out at devmountain.com. All right, so let's see what we're working with here. 65,000 people submitted the survey. Probably some details about how they got it. Key results. Okay, the TLDR. Python fell from second to third this year, and TypeScript is number one, which I've been telling you guys for a while. I learned TypeScript, man. It's really fantastic. I've been working in TypeScript for about 4 years now, and I absolutely love it. Site reliability engineers and DevOps specialists remain amongst the highest paid individuals. I've also talked about how I might go into DevOps just to make more money. Although I've done a little DevOps, it sort of kills your soul at times. This is kind of funny. 52% of respondents think, "Hello, old friend." They look for something I already found. 90% of respondents indicate they visit Stack Overflow when they're stuck. I just naturally end up there. I don't know that I go out of my way. 75% of developers work overtime at least occasionally, 1 to 2 days per quarter. 25% work overtime 1 to 2 days per week or more. Ugh. So I would say 1 to 2 days per quarter is fine. If I... Okay, so I kicked the dogs out. So 1 to 2 days per quarter is probably pretty accurate. It's about what I probably work. Maybe even less than that. Now, if you're working 1 to 2 days per week or more, get a new job. That's my advice to you. More than 50% of 15% of people find that Stack Overflow at least somewhat more welcome than last year. This is funny because Stack Overflow kind of has a reputation for being kind of elitist and douchey, and so it looks like they're making some progress. People of color are underrepresented among professional developers, but there is some improvement. Okay. Developer profile. Geography. About 50 million people visit Stack Overflow. And half of those are professional developers or universities. So you can see a good portion's coming from the U.S., a good portion's coming from India. How much the U.S.? About 20%. India, 13%. Developer roles. Majority of developers identify as full stack, and about 20% of them consider mobile. So let's see here. 55% are considered back end. 54.9 full stack, and then front end followed. I fall into the full stack front end. People ask me like, hey, web or mobile? And a lot of times I recommend web just because there seems to be more work than mobile. I think this kind of supports it a little bit. A lot of other stuff. And, one thing that they mentioned earlier about DevOps and site reliability engineers, you can see only about 12% are DevOps. And you don't always have to go where the most jobs are. But something to consider when you're looking at challenges. And then site reliability engineer, 4%. I'm not even sure what that entails. Like, I don't know. And about 8 out of 10 of us code outside of work. Nice. That's higher than I thought it would be. Years since learning to code. 17% learned how to code less than 5 years ago. With 40% saying less than 10. So almost 50% less than 10 years ago learning code. How about professional developers? About 40% of professional developers learned in the last 10 years. Okay. Years coding professionally. This is one that always shocks me because it doesn't ever seem to be going up. And I think it's because the majority of software engineers are, like, the industry is growing, so it's always going to be skewed to the front. And it's naturally going to be skewed to the front. But 65% of people have been coding less than 10 years professionally. Which I'm going on about 4.5, 5 myself, so I fall into this. But I'm about to move up to the next tier, baby. By developer type. So as you progress, this is important because I'm trying to progress my career. So the average engineering manager has 14 years experience. That's higher than I thought that was going to be. Developer, embed applications, devices. I'm not too surprised about this because this is more like embedded applications. I think of that as like hardware. So that's going to be a little bit older technology, which is going to lead you to someone with a little bit more experience that's worked in that. Oh no, this is desktop. I guess I don't know what embedded applications are. I think of desktop and like hardware. Maybe there's a distinction. Educator, about 10.5 years if you're in the education space. Game and graphics, back end full stack 8.7, front end 8.2. So front end definitely on the lower end for the average years by developer type, which is strange, but all right. Writing the first line of code. 54% of people wrote the first line of code, whether it's a web page or hello world program, age 16. I fall into that category, but it wasn't really code so much as like HTML, CSS. I'm sure I wrote like 1 or 2 lines of JavaScript. Education. A little less than half have a bachelor's degree. A little less than a quarter have a master's. 12.6. Here I am. With some college without earning a degree. And so secondary school. So by and large, about 30% of developers don't. Oh, let's see here. What is this? That goes to about 68. Yeah, about 30% of developers don't have a bachelor's degree or more. So you had that. Primary, elementary school. Yeah, give or take a little bit. Undergraduate major. Most are going to be computer science, everything you expect. A lot of engineering degrees go into that. And information technology, mathematics, statistics, natural science. You can see pretty much everything you would expect here. 85% of respondents that are professional developers feel that formal education is at least somewhat important, which is contrary to the property and they don't need formal education to become a developer. However, almost 16% believe that it's not all important at all. So very important, fairly important, somewhat important. I think I fall into this somewhat important category. I think it helps with your progression. That's basically it. Like, I don't know that you need a degree to learn or anything. Demographics, professional developers. 70% are white. They look like me, I guess. About 10% are Asian. 7.8% Hispanic, Latino, Middle Eastern. 4%, 3.5% black, and then multiracial, biracial. Okay. Gender. Let's see how this went. Men, 91.5, women 8%. Did that increase or get worse? It looks about the same. About 12% of developers. Okay. Transgender. 1%. Alright. Developer role and gender. You can look at this. I don't really care too much. Experience and gender. This will show some insight. So, if women have been growing in the field, I would imagine that they'd be earlier on here. And it looks like they are, right? They're skewed a little bit more towards the front, which I think means there's more people going in. I don't know. Orientation, okay. Disability status. Let's look at this one. I know one of my subscribers talks about this quite a bit because there's a vision problem. Let's see, physical differences. I'm blind. 1.1% of developers have difficulty seeing. There you go. 70% of developers are under 35, and about 5% are 50 or older. I wonder, so like when you say developers, I wonder if this takes into consideration engineering managers and things like that, or if it simply takes into account like the actual people writing the code. Like that's an interesting distinction, which I'm curious about. Because like it makes sense that, you know, most people are starting their careers probably out of college, right? So like if you're the stereotypical thing, you go from 18 to like 22, 23, let's just say till 25, and then you get your first foot in the door at 25, and then you're working. That's going to be your typical software engineer earlier on. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen outside of that, but as you progress, right, to engineering managers and so on and so forth, I wonder if this is including that. So I don't think so because it says professional developers only. Average age in the United States is 33.7. I'm turning 33 in October. We are officially the average here almost. Tools of the trade. Okay, I like this part. Programming, scripting, and markup languages. So JavaScript, HTML, CSS. These are, unsurprisingly, for the 8th year in a row. People ask me all the time, hey, should I still learn JavaScript? Here's your answer. Unsurprisingly, for the 8th year in a row, JavaScript has maintained its stronghold as the most commonly used programming language. Going further down the list, you also see moderate gains for TypeScript, edging out C# in terms of popularity. So, bunch of stuff here. Web frameworks. We see that jQuery is still king. Oh my god. Kill me. But slowly losing ground to React.js and Angular over there. We do see some consolidation as more than 35% of respondents use jQuery, React, a version of Angular, combining Angular, which is Angular 2 plus AngularJS. So you can see that the frameworks are increasing in terms of slowly overtaking jQuery. React.js, Angular. That's closer than I would have thought that would have been. Express, Vue.js, pretty good. And then people often ask me about these other things. You can see how often they're using. If you add AngularJS and Angular, it gets up there. Other frameworks, libraries, or tools. Node.js, .NET Core. No Ionic, huh? Databases. MySQL, PostgreSQL. I like PostgreSQL. MongoDB, SQLite. You can see a lot of document-based databases have been picking up. Really? I'm surprised to see Linux so high up actually beat out Windows, but what do I know? Heroku. I like me some Heroku. Most loved, dreaded, and wanted languages. For 5 years running, Rust has taken the top spot as the most loved programming language. TypeScript is surpassing Python compared to last year, and Go. I've actually been seeing a lot of job apps with Go and from recruiters. So TypeScript, I'm in this camp. My director was talking to me about Rust. He loves it. Dreaded, VBA. My boy, the king is still here. JavaScript's I think slower. I think people are getting okay. Python, JavaScript, TypeScript. They really should group these two together, in my opinion. But hey, most loved, dude. I can tell you that anyone who works in C# is on that C# life. They love it. Same thing with React. I don't like React, man. Love me some Angular though. Dreaded. Drupal, jQuery, AngularJS. I also avoid AngularJS. That's funny. I avoid it for different reasons, though. I avoid it because it's, you don't really want to be stuck working in legacy frameworks, especially when there's a secondary framework, because it just makes your life a little harder. All right. Most loved and dreaded databases. Love Redis, MongoDB. I haven't played around with Elasticsearch yet. People are about that, though. All right. Development environment and tools. Windows. Most people work on Windows, followed by Mac, followed by Linux-based. This is the thing I find so funny, man. You would think that, like, every time anyone uses a Mac, they think you're anti-normal. Like, they think you're... I don't know what BSD is, by the way. But they make it sound like you're so strange. It's like, no, man. A lot of people use Windows, man. Chill. Professional survey. GitHub as collaborative tool more than they use Slack. I mean, we all use GitHub of some form, right? A lot of people use GitLab. I use GitHub. I don't use Slack. I've used Slack. I've used Jira, Google Suite. I use on a regular basis. Haven't used GitLab. I've used Confluence, Trello, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Azure, Stack Overflow for Teams. I haven't tried yet. Facebook Workplace. I haven't tried either. Researching tools. Start a free trial. That's look at that, man. Free trial, always king. Purchase influence. Have a great deal of influence. Have some influence. Have little to no influence. So, this is probably pretty accurate. So typically, when you are recommending something as a software engineer, there's the tool that you want to use, and then there's the tool that will get the job done that is cheaper, and that's usually how this plays out. Top paying technology. This is important. Globally, Perl, Scala, and Go tend to have the highest salaries. Perl is among the most dreaded languages, so it's possible the high salaries is to compensate for the dearth of developers who want to use that. All right, so Scala, 150K. Go, Object-C, C, Haskell, TypeScript, 120K. That's pretty much what I make. So that's pretty correct. JavaScript right behind it. Although, I'd go pick up Go. There's easier ways to make 30K than I have to change languages, though. Correlated technologies. Ooh. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, Angular, Express, Node, MongoDB, Heroku. Cool. That's pretty cool. Learning and problem solving. 75% of respondents know they learn a new technology at least once every 3 months or once a year. That's pretty accurate. About once a year for me. What do you do when you get stuck? Visit Stack Overflow, do other work, come back, watch help tutorial videos, call a coworker or a friend. I fall into this category and this category. I don't visit Stack Overflow directly. Play games. Y'all just getting paid, huh? That's funny. I do meditate. I haven't done it in a little bit, but I plan to start meditating again pretty soon. All right, is that hello, old friend? Indifferent, amused, annoyed. This is sort of these three. Depending on the day, I don't usually feel annoyed. I've accepted the fact that I can't retain everything. All right, so this was taken before COVID-19 was declared a pandemic. So disclaimer. Okay. Employment. 92% of developers are employed at least part-time. Roughly 12% of respondents say they are students. Oh, good for you guys, man. Employed status by category. In the U.S., about 78.6%. Okay. Overtime. Never. 1 to 2 days per year or less. This is probably somewhere between these two. This is the extent. If I ever do this, I'm probably looking for a new job. And I'm definitely at a new job by the time it gets to that. Company information, company size. 20 to 99 employees is the number one company size. Wow, I didn't expect that. I fall into this category. So I'd say what's a large company? I think a large company is 500 or more. So what's that? 17, we'll say 20. About 25% of people work in companies 1,000 or more, and the rest are. Did I do that math right? No. 35%. 38%? I don't know. About 40% of companies are large companies. Onboarding. Half of y'all had onboarding? I didn't have any onboarding, man. Not any, like, dev onboarding. Onboarding, what's onboarding? Exactly. Dedicated DevOps personnel. Yeah. That seems about importance of DevOps. Extremely important. I don't know if I agree with that. I think some good feature toggles. You don't really need too much DevOps involved, but perhaps I'll have a different opinion when I evaluate more. How do developers feel about their jobs? About 10% are very dissatisfied, about 16% slightly, 12.8% slightly satisfied. Or neither dissatisfied or satisfied. So let me tell you, if you're neither satisfied or dissatisfied in your role, you're dissatisfied. You just don't realize it yet. That's my current theory. I'm glad to hear that about 60. What is this? About 63% of us are happy. I can appreciate that. About 2/3 almost. And then about 58% of people are not actively looking but open to new job opportunities, with about 1/5 of us always looking. And then they break that down by category or by country. Who's actively looking for a job? Academic researchers are always looking, apparently. Developer, games or graphics, mobile, developer front end, QA. And then you can see sort of as you get to higher tier positions, like product manager, engineering manager, VP, you're probably pretty happy where you're at. Job hunt factors. Better compensation, wanting to work with new technologies, curious about other opportunities, growth or leadership opportunities. This is important. Better work-life balance. Trouble with leadership at my company. So like once you get past these are the big ones, right? So you can see an immediate 20+% drop here. Looking to relocate. This is important. Having a bad day or week at a month at work. Just done for the day. Trouble with just because. All right. Trouble with my teammates. Wanting to share accomplishments with a wider network. Hey, you learning about company in your job hub? Glassdoor. I always look at Glassdoor. I don't even interview at roles if you have a bad Glassdoor ranking. Friends or family. I do talk to friends or family if they've worked there or if they have any recommendations. Job priorities. Languages, office environment, company culture. Just shit you'd be interested in. Salary by developer type. Engineering manager. Let's look at United States. Engineering manager, 152K. Site reliability, 140. Data scientist, 125. DevOps, 125. Developer backend, 120. You can kind of see how a lot of these roles are evening out in the U.S. Like, I feel like there's bigger jumps between a lot of roles, and they're sort of working their way out. Developer front end, 110. Business analyst, 100K. Salary and experience by developers. A little chart here. Salary and experience by language. TypeScript is slightly underpaid based on this. Hours worked per week. Let's see by developer type. Engineering manager 43.9. Look at us, front end developers, full stack developers. We just don't take no shit. Community. Site use, visiting Stack Overflow. Multiple times per day, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much all of us have a Stack Overflow account. Bunch of different Stack Overflow sites. Change the Stack Overflow. These are all the various upvotes. All right, and then just some additional detail about how they did all their stuff. I'll include a link to this in the description below. I always find this stuff kind of fascinating to see how things are changing and what's going on, and you know, the software engineering world is very progressive, or at least it attempts to be. And it's nice to see sometimes that stuff going in the right direction, and nice to see that, you know, so many people are so worried about what's going on in terms of programming languages and technologies and what, you know, people are using on their day-to-day, and, you know, what's really relevant. And I think this helps clear up some of that stuff. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you're interested in any of my courses, there are links in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. We're on that road to 100,000, trying to get that silver plate button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to check out my latest course, the 100 Front-End Interview Questions Challenge, to make sure that you ace those front-end interviews. Smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.